That works better if I take the lens cap off. Hello and welcome to Plugin Along, a stream dedicated to LOTRO plugins. Last time on Plugin Along, we mostly finished adding obsolete deeds to the deed tracker plugin, and today we'll return to TitanBar. I want to pick up on the wallet work that I left off late last year, but first I want to look into the delay when you first load TitanBar that I think is caused by calling GetAttributes. So we're going to dig into that for a little while. As always, feel free to jump into chat with your thoughts and questions about plugins in specific or LOTRO in general. We're pretty flexible here. In the meantime, I did want to cover one thing that Little Redhead was talking about. I wanted to pull up a page on the LOTRO wikis. Let me go ahead and switch over to that. So this is the page for legendary items. I'll just put that in the chat. LOTRO wiki. Oh, oops, that's not it. There we go. So this is the page I'm on, legendary items, and a bit down you'll find a table. This is under the reforging entry, and what I wanted to cover is Little Redhead was pointing out that each tier of tracery has a minimum and maximum level range, and if you want to plan ahead or just have a central resource for this, come on over to the wiki and you can see that tier 1 traceries are valid from 45 to 95, but at level 86 you can advance to tier 4 traceries. And so tier 4 traceries work across 86 to 100. And then at level 101, you unlock 7s. And then from then on, there's an overlap. You can do 4s and 7s at 101 and 105. Then you can do 7s and 9s, 9s and 11s, 11s and 13s, 13s and 14s, 14s and 15s. So you have a chance to use the thing for a reforge or two before it becomes obsolete. There's also, as Little Redhead was mentioning, a minimum enhancement level for a slot. And that's the number over here. I don't know if my mouse cursor is showing up. That would be sad if it wasn't. Why is it? Capture cursor. I'll just turn that off and back on. You can see it a little bit. That's weird. Just when it's hovering over something. All right. Well, the numbers on the right showing 250, 201, and so forth. Though that's the enhancement level of the tracery, and you can see the minimum. So whenever you slot in a tier 4, you're gonna the enhancement level of that slot is gonna bump up to 130, or I guess it's possible 131. No, okay, 201. There we go. So 130. So if it was below that, it's going to go to 130. If you've already pushed it above that, well, that seems unlikely because the enhancement maximum for a tier 1 starts at 52 and then increments as you reforge at various level bands to a maximum of 125. So you slot in a tier 4, your enhancement goes up to 130, and now you have a maximum of 155, 175, 190, or 200. Then you slot in a 7, and regardless of whether or not you were at 200 or not, now they're going to 201 with a maximum of 215 or 250 at 105. So when in doubt, refer back to the wiki for information on this. Anything that's happening on your equipment right now, you can, of course... Oh, hey, there's my mouse cursor. You can, of course, see that. So here we can see the minimum level is 101, the maximum level is 115, and that we have an enhancement limit of 299. Is that right? 299, a maximum... Interesting. I wonder if the wiki needs a little updating there, because I would have thought that this was a limit of 250. It does say 250. Oh, but a 7 can go up to 299. That's confusing. Okay. So when in doubt, check the wiki. But for your current equipment, you can find this information here. It's just hard to plan for the future without knowing some of this information. Like, when will I get the next tier of traceries, which is going to be 9? And the answer to that is at 106. And at the 111 reforge point, you'll still be able to use it. You'll be able to use 9s at 116 reforge and at 120 reforge, and 9s will drop off at 121. Awesome. If anyone has any questions about those, feel free to hit me up. If you haven't hit level 45 yet, you haven't gone into Moria, don't worry about legendary items. They're just a thing that will happen. A lot of people were around for legendary item version kind of 1.0 or 1.1. And this is sort of like legendary item version 2. And for a lot of people, making the mental transition from the old system to the new system just causes those hiccups as they're like, wait, what? What do you mean we're doing that instead of this other thing? So I'm going to go ahead and close that up. So we're going to be working on TitanBar today. So let's just go ahead and get TitanBar installed. So I'm going to be looking at TitanBar fresh from the LOTROinterface.com website. And my microphone's going to get caught on my leg. Awesome. So I'm going to be looking at it directly from there. It's not going to have any modifications. I want to see just the version that's downloaded, what's going on. And we're going to go ahead and open this up in Visual Studio Code, which is a free tool. And we're using the LOTRO API and Lua extensions. And what are we doing with that? Well, there is a delay when we load up this plugin. And it didn't used to be there. And I want to demonstrate that. So we've modified which plugins are installed. So we're going into the plugin manager and we're hitting this green arrow, or you can type /plugins space refresh. There is TitanBar. And we'll just do a rough timing verbally. So 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007. So roughly 7 seconds, which is a little depressing. Let's get a little bit more exact than that, though. Let's go ahead and figure out a reasonable way to do a timing, assuming, of course, that the delay happens because of what we think, therefore we are provoking the delay. So what we want to do is, first of all, unload that. We're going to come on into what is usually the central point for a plugin, main.lua. We're going to come on in here and we're going to go ahead and say turbine.shell.writeline loading TitanBar, and we'll just say debug loading TitanBar. What I would like to do is also local start load time equals, and we're going to use a function in turbine.engine and probably get game time. Is this a number of seconds? Returns the number of seconds, relative game time in seconds. That would work. Local time, number of seconds since an epoch. That's fine too. I'm going to get game time. So equals turbine.engine.get game time. And what we want to do is figure out where stuff is happening. And let's just say it's here, turbine.shell.writeline debug after frn main t equals, and we're going to go ahead and turbine.engine get game time minus start load time. Now, the danger here is that we may get the exact same value back because sometimes the game will just give you the same value while you are in a certain execution state. And it's not until the next time it says, hey, it's time for you to do something. So one thing we can do is go look at the D tracker, which does have this diagnostic built in, and say, hey, how do you do that? So we're going to go ahead and queue plugins, D tracker, this is on my other screen, and go look at its main, because it probably has a solution. Seconds to load. Great. Oh yeah, cool. Let's go ahead and just steal blatantly from this. So we want this. That's much better. We were using Turbine Engine get game time. Awesome. So, cool. TitanBar. Load started time. And then we're going to come in and make a control and use that control's update function to rely on the fact that we, A, are being called into a different context, so we're going to get a different game time, and 2, it's only going to get called once everything else is done being loaded during the plugin load phase. So in here, loaded control, we're just going to go ahead and start replacing that with TitanBar. Great. So load time, wait until time does practically. Okay, great. Then we're going to set once updates to false. This was based off of someone else's. I haven't actually double checked this comment myself, but it's okay. It doesn't hurt to have it. And then that's a check for a thing that doesn't exist. So, and do we have a debug function? We do not. Or rather, not in a way that helps us. Turbine dot shell dot right line. There we go. And then D tracker. No, Titan bar. There we go. So we're gonna get a sense, a bit more accurate sense of how long 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1000. There we go. 5.423 seconds. Much more precise than I can be. Probably more accurate as well. Okay, so is it repeatable? Let's go ahead and load it again. .22 seconds. Okay, let's do it again. .38. So we're definitely seeing a 5-point-something second delay. What I'm interested in is figuring out if this is indeed related to the call to get attributes. So let's go ahead and find this. There are 4 calls to get attributes. We do this for money changed. We do this for destiny points changed. We do this for no explained reason. And we do this for get money. Okay. So let's pretend like we don't care about any of that functionality right now. So instead of calling get attributes, we're going to go player at equals, and we're just going to go ahead and say it is a table, because that means this call that tries to assign this to a money changed member of this should just work. It won't do anything, but it shouldn't not work. So player at equals a table. And again, we're just adding a callback to it or removing a callback to it. It's not going to work. We can see that this remove callback is acting on something that was initialized over here. That's a sign that something weird is going on. We have this as a global variable though, so these are just refreshing a global variable, which is its own problem. We're going to go ahead and, again, make a player attribute here. Actually, it's not even being used here. It's just being updated here. It's very weird. It's it's player infos, so maybe player infos itself was going to use it, except we were doing this after the import. Very strange. I don't understand that. And then local. This is a local value. So let's go ahead and say get money, and we're just going to what is this expecting? ToString get money. Okay, hang on a second. What's player attribute get money gonna give us? Okay. Just a number, the money of the player in copper. Great. Okay. That's super easy. So, player at equals table, and player at dot get money equals function return 0 end. Oh, let's see what happens with that. So we're going to go ahead and unload TitanBar. We're going to load TitanBar. That didn't work. Oops. Functions. That's true. I should. Oh my goodness. Player at is used in so many different places. Let's go ahead and limit it just to things that are definitely this. And oof. Okay. So first things first. The places where we are calling get player attributes. There's a distressingly large number of these, and what we would like to do is go ahead and centralize those. So we're going to go ahead and just say player at is initialized here. And get rid of it in these other places so they don't step on top of each other, possibly causing problems. Okay. Just to be sure. Hey, great. It loads this time. We can see it thinks I have 0 money, which, okay. You know, that's what we told it to do. So, other thing that we can see is that it took 0.2 seconds to load. Let's do that again. Okay, it took 0.2 seconds. Let's do it again. Awesome. 0.174 seconds is a great number of seconds for a plugin to load. I especially love the fact that it's not 5.5 seconds. Hello, fellowship member Monstain. Welcome. So, Little Redhead's doing some cleaning, I think.
I'm trying to figure out.
So, why is this a problem? Well, it's a problem because we would like to support those pieces of functionality that use the get attributes. But I don't necessarily want to deal with that every time I load and unload and load and unload this. I'm being asked a question, and the answer to that question is Sylphie.
Nope.
Oh, it's not the answer to the question because Sylphie has done the thing. Path of Valor, go to Monstain. Hey, you are on Monstain.
Who's next?
Monstain's done that? Then we need Feldspot.
Thank you.
So, for those who don't know, when you are running with landscape difficulty, and in this case I had difficulty 3 fearless, then you are eligible to obtain tokens of heroism. They have a cap, though, of 60 tokens, which means you are frequently switching to going back to Thorn's Hall or someplace else with a hardened traveler to turn them in. Unfortunately, the quests to turn them in, they are tasks, but they have a weekly cooldown, which means that if you collect more than 60 tokens of heroism a week, which is super easy to do, especially if you're running missions, then you are going to want to optimize your play a little bit, because tokens of heroism are great and all, but the only thing they're good for are turning in those tasks. Those tasks get you a different token and also reputation with the Path of Valor. Valor, not Valar. The Path of Valor, this one, right up here at the top. So if you want to advance reputation-wise, it's most efficient just to do the tier 1 task. But if you have enough tokens, it's kind of nice to do all 3 of those tasks on whatever character you care about most. And then when you get another 60 tokens, alt over to your next favorite character and turn them in there. And if you fill it up again, alt over to your next favorite character and fill them up there. But it takes a while, even doing that, turning in all 3 of them once a week. It does take a while to get to the maximum reputation level of the Path of Valor. So it's nice to remember in what order you're doing these to kind of maximize the effect and not scatter the reputation over all of your different characters. So I have a spreadsheet that I track this for myself, and I also know where the Little Redhead's spreadsheet is, so I was able to pop that open. Okay. Casper is being a little active on the couch behind me. Oh, that Casper? Right there?
He was up and he went
Hello, Casper. What you doing? Hi. Okay. So that's the Paths of Valor. That's why I was being asked that, because we're trying to just optimize that extra reputation gain so that specific characters can level up. Because if you do level up with the Path of Valor, you get access to epic versions of some of the emotes, like this Sword Salute, which is Hero Pose, which is Hero Pose _epic, which gives you a fancy light while you're doing it, which I like to use too as a beacon, like, hey, members of my fellowship, I'm over here. Cool. Okay. So, yes, the other currency that you convert tokens of heroism into, and these are account-wide tokens, by the way, are heroes' marks. So when you're on your other character, you turn these in, you get your heroes' marks out of your tokens of heroism. These are what you use to purchase things at the Hardened Traveler. But the Hardened Traveler locks things based off of your reputation level with the Paths of Valor. So if you want to get the things, you need to advance along that reputation line. Okay, all that being said, let's go back on here. So we have no more GetAttributes calls. Great. We have a player attribute here. Let's go ahead and make sure we didn't break anything. Awesome, and it still took almost no time to load. I was getting really worried when Deed Tracker was taking like multiple seconds, like 5 or 6 seconds to load. I was like, oh my goodness, I've written this horribly inefficient plugin, which I probably have, and it's come back to haunt me. And then I took out the one call to get attributes that I wasn't even using, and the load time went down to like, less than half a second on my machine. And I was just like, oh my goodness. So is there a way to get the money of the character short of the player attributes? Probably not. There's not a lot of redundancy in calls like that, but let's take a look at what we can do with player. And the local player, local player. Oh, local player. There we go. The local player has these methods. So get alignment, get attributes, get backpack, and so on. And yeah, money's not one of these. Now, there is Get Wallet, but I'm pretty sure money is special and isn't actually in your wallet. Let's see. Let's take a look. Control money infos window. Sure. No player at. Okay, where are we getting this from? Money info. Alright, we're adding stuff to a list box. What goes in there? Refresh list box. That sounds like a great function. Let's go take a look. Dot money. Pretty sure this is what's getting populated with that information. Well, that's the X. Okay, yeah. That's the settings for money, of course. I remember what I'm doing. String data. This string data is being initialized by stuff. This stuff. Cool. Okay. Sure. Show me more about gold. How do we get that into wallet? No player money. Okay. Oh, it's something that's already saved into player wallet? Okay. Tell me more about this. Oh, it's only here. Man, remembering how stuff works is a pain. Okay. So, let's go take a look at these files and see if that strikes any inspiration. This is going to be in Documents, Lord of the Rings Online, plugin data, and we can see that that was being loaded. That is server scope. So let's go take a look at Treebeard, all characters, and that is going to be wallet. Okay, and we can see money equals 0. Well, that's fair. I did tell it money equals 0. Okay, so that's load player money. Sure. There's also a stats file. Let's take a look at that. Yep, lots of zeros. Makes sense. Save player money. Great. There we go. There was a player attribute in here. Why did I not realize that? Okay, so we need that excuse me, get money function in order for this to work. That's fair enough. Okay, so get money, get destiny points. So we would be able to tell if we went into the wallet. There we go. Attempt to call get destiny points doesn't work. But we could make it work in the sense that if we're coming into main, we can just say, hey, player attributes destiny points equals function return 0 end. All right, let's give that a shot. So we're going to come on in, add the wallet, and we can see it worked okay. Now, there's probably other problems, but if we go ahead and say Destiny Point and show that on the TitanBar, there it is. We have 0. Pretty sure I have more than that. If we put it in the tooltip, it's there. Just to confirm, I have 228,000. So I do have, in fact, more than 0. But that means we can stub this out for the purposes of saying, let's say, we'll call use real player at equals true. So we say if use real player at then player at equals, and we can just do what we were doing, which was player get attributes. Now we don't necessarily have a player yet. There it is. So we might hoist this on up. And that's because we do need this loaded in time for certain of these imports, because then we know functions and control was using this, for instance. Okay, so player at equals this. If use real, then else. Oh yeah, no, we had that right. Else, we're just going to leave it as a table and add whatever we need into it. So right now, real player at is true. So if we come on out and load this, we should expect this to take another 5.5 seconds to load because of that GetAttributes call. There we go. I no longer like the debug loading TitanBar call. It is not helpful. And then, 6.2 seconds, even better. And then if we say, where was this? There we go. False. Use real player attribute is false. Then we're going to come in and load that, and we can see it was almost instantaneous, but we're not getting the information. And what is that information? We need get money, get destiny points. We care about money changing, destiny points changing. The function get money still, lots of that. Don't care about the main. That's what we're looking at right now. Get armor, get might, get ability, agility, get vitality, get will, get fate. These are all things that we're getting off of the player attribute that just are not replaceable. So the player info's tooltip really wants this. Now the money changed. This is very interesting. We're adding the callback at the point where we're adding the money infos. So if we don't have the money infos on, we're not going to be caring about that. Destiny points, if we have the destiny point control, we care about that. Otherwise, we don't. Okay. And the get money is scattered all over. That's in the load player money. Where is that called? It's in main. Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's fair because that's one of the main things we do, but it really shouldn't be there. What if you don't have that? Okay. So the biggest place we use it is the player info's tooltip, and that is, I think it's that one. No, it's not. It's not even that. It's this tooltip. And we can see attempt to call functions is just dying. So if we come on in, nope, I'm in the wrong main. So, gotta wait another 6 seconds for it to load. There we go. So, this, if you hover over it, it's going to be a way to show you this information. Is this useful? I don't know. For one thing, I'm not sure it's correct. I also don't know. Alright, I guess I'm snipping it. Thank you. Great. So experience, no data. That's funny. Next level at. Oh, of course, because I'm at max level cap for this server. Is it getting the right information at least? Yeah, we can see it thinks my might is 391, agility 387, very respectable for a hobbit. All of those values seem right. Critical rating, we can see it thinks we're 17026, but we can see the percentages do not look correct. And this is probably because there's very old calculation data in here. So I'm not sure what the use case is for this screen, but if it's meant to be a summary of the information that you have to use tooltips to hover over to get, then I feel like it's incomplete. Also, because your melee, ranged, and tactical critical values are going to be different, potentially. Mine are, in fact, the same, which, how about tactical mastery? We have tactical 22,133, great. I have increasing the damage by 215%. It says 106.8%, so I'm not sure what's going up there. Going on there. Healing? Outgoing healing. Nope. I mean, it does have the number, but mostly. Okay, so I guess I wouldn't be sad if that screen went away. I don't know if other people use it, though. I don't know why they would use it because the numbers are off. But the point, I guess, being, unless you have player infos on, we're not using any of these functions. So you kind of bring it on yourself if we put the delay onto adding that particular control. But money is a big part of TitanBar, and they don't have a good solution there. What if we did it in a callback? It would probably also be bad, but let's give it a try. So this is the thing we want to do, and we're going to say false. So let's come on over here where we already have one of these controls. Delayed loading player attributes control equals turbine.ui.names are hard. Control. And we're going to say delayed, and we don't have to type this because we're using a modern UI, so whatever. Set once updates, true. And delayed, and I spelled it with a capital T, where I didn't want it. Okay. And then we're going to say dot update equals function sender args. And we're going to go ahead and coming in here to say you know what? On first call to update, get game time returns the same as initial. I don't think that matters for us. We just want to do this a single time. So we do want to turn off the attempt to do this. And then we're going to go ahead and say player add equals, we want to borrow this, yoink. And just say what happens if we do it here. But, what's up? That's fine. Okay. Let's give that a try. 1003, 1004, 1005. Yeah, okay, so that didn't work. Alright, cool. Let's do this thing where we're like, we're definitely going to be done. Yeah, you can see the game is frozen at this point. So TitanBar itself only took the 0.2 seconds to load, but the 5-second kind of pausing of the client still happened. So what, if anything, do we do about this? Just double checking that there's nothing on the forums about this. Nope, just the thing that I posted. Okay. Setting Stone Games tends to move pretty conservatively when it comes to changing the LOTRO API. So I don't imagine the delay is something that gets addressed anytime soon. I don't think there's a global solution to this problem. But if you had multiple plugins within an apartment, you could have a single, almost sacrificial plugin responsible for doing the loading of this value into the apartment. And then every other plugin could just refer to this variable. So you could have the performance hit once for a cluster of plugins, usually by the same author. With the downside that you lose the ability to unload any particular one of them, you have to unload the whole apartment. I think that's beyond the scope of what I care about right now, but I think what we have done is developed us a way, I'm going to get rid of that, developed a way to bypass using the real player attributes during development, because this is mostly a problem that affects me and other developers, right? This is if you are logging on and about to play a 4-hour LOTRO session, an extra 5 seconds while you're logging in, you might not even notice, because if you're like me, you hit log on and then you walk away from the computer to get a snack or go pet the cat or something. Yeah, you. So you might not even notice an extra 5 seconds, but I, as a plugin developer, notice it so much, and I'd be very happy to be. What are you doing back there? Come here. The cat is just sitting 10 feet behind me, like loafed up, staring at me on the floor. It's very unnerving. Oh well. Not that cat, a different cat. Okay, so we have this. Let's go ahead and comment it up for developers. Get attributes, player. Get attributes, and is this a local player? What's up with that? Yeah, local player. Local player. Get attributes. Causes the plugin. Oh, it really causes the game to pause for approximately 5 to 6 seconds on its first call. If you are developing something that does not depend on something in GetAttributes, see list below, change use real player at to false during development to speed up plugin load. Great. We have a warning message for ourselves. No. Things within GetAttributes that TitanBar currently cares about. Great. And that's going to be get money, get destiny, get money / money changed, get destiny, I think, points / destiny points changed. Player info's tooltip calls pretty much every function within. What does GetAttributes return anyway? Within the attributes. Okay, do not care to document that. And then those two are already taken care of. That's taken care of. That's taken care of. Bam. Okay. So and get attributes bypass. Okay. So that is a thing that we can kind of slot into any TitanBar development work that we're doing to make this easier on ourselves. And I would actually commit this code. I'd be comfortable committing this code because the default is it just initializes a single global variable player attributes after we get our player variable, and everything else just looks at it instead of reinitializing that variable 3 or 4 different times depending on your location in the code. Now, I'm going to go ahead and check for GetAttributes. It's all right here. So this is the only place that GetAttributes gets called, so it's getting called 0 or 1 time. Okay. Oh, and I missed, or I think I did not actually respond, but you in chat was still lurking after Little Redhead's stream and said hello. Hello there, and Rocky in chat says hello. Hello! Welcome to the stream. Glad you're here. Assume you are still here. Okay, so that was kind of the first half of the stream was digging into this. A thing that is true is I have been working on a replacement wallet window for TitanBar that will correspond more closely with the wallet window over here. And I think I don't care about the money, so I think I can still maintain this. So let's go take a look at how annoying it's going to be to get this change there. We're going to start by coming into plugins. In Habit plugins, I'm going to move this into just a random storage place like my downloads directory. I'm going to move that on over here. So it's no longer installed. If we do a refresh within LOTRO, we can see LOTRO doesn't think it exists anymore. Then I'm going to come on into my saved off plugins. We're going to go ahead and move that Habna plugins back. And now we can go ahead and reopen Visual Studio Code. But this is a different one. So let's go ahead and figure out what's different in that main file. Actually, what's different everywhere. TitanBar and TitanBar. Oh, that's not going to be good, actually. Hang on. I need to compare that to the original TitanBar because there's going to be so much different here. TitanBar. Okay. TitanBar by Duriel. Yep, there you go. We're on a different monitor, but I've just downloaded that. So we're going to go into my downloads and extract it. with the whole point of being able to compare that one with what I just finished changing. Here we go. So let's expand this, and we can see, don't care about the settings. In functions, CTR, we're gonna come on in here and do that. Okay, let's start with main though. In main, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and have a little bit of this. Now, there's probably a debug variable somewhere where we could key this off of, but it's fine for right now. We can see line 56. No. What's going on there? Oh no, it was this stuff, line 48, of course. Hit play. There, yeah, that's the stuff. That is the stuff. We want to go ahead and take that. Oh, interesting. It was already in a fine location. Okay, don't actually care about that then. So on this one, we're going to go ahead and put that back there. I misunderstood what was going on there. Okay, so for this, great, it was in a fine location. And this is going to go right before the imports. That's fine too. In fact, kind of want to move it up here. Okay. So, the other thing was functions CTR. And in here, line 19, can't do that. But player at, and we're just deleting this. Any place where this line exists, we're going to go ahead and get rid of it. Cool. So, same question. Oh, that's funny. Player at. We don't want to call it again. What's up with that? It's fine. Okay. So, get attributes. Anywhere else that it's being used. So, we're going to go ahead and do that there. Does it need to be dot? Oh, it might need to be dot. I don't think so, though. Oh, no, we don't need that. Okay. So, player at. This is still being used in lots of places. Player info tooltip. Wallet tooltip. Player at get money. Yep. Destiny get money. Get attributes. What's going on there? Yep. Okay. Awesome. Player at get destiny points. Everything else is using colon, so we're going to do that there too. Get money, get money, get money, money changed, get money. Awesome. So, in theory, we have integrated in the changes we just developed into the branch where I was developing a custom wallet. Except, let's go look at our source control, because it's entirely possible I moved forward and backwards. Yeah, okay. Oh, I forgot about that. That's funny. We're going to go ahead and stash a lot of this in work. And we're going to come find... Oh, Fork, why are you not loading this window? Alright, I will stare at the cat, who is in disk mode and napping. Okay. Let's try that again. That's like the first time I've ever been tempted to force quit that application. Okay. So we're going to load the other version of this. We're going to come on in. And we don't have that bypass, so 1004, 1005. Okay. And this is the potentially new wallet window replacement for TitanBar. The problem being that I haven't actually hooked up the ability to go ahead and track things. But the idea being that we're going to do basically, if it exists in your wallet, it's going to exist over here. Oh, I don't even have gold in there. That's funny. Apparently I need to add that. Money, gold. Okay, that's funny. So, oh, because it's its own different thing. Interesting. That'll be something for later. Now, a problem I have is that it does take a moment to populate this with everything that's in your wallet, which hopefully, I don't know if I can actually fix that, but hopefully it's not a huge deal. Another problem is that the ordering of things in your wallet doesn't necessarily seem consistent from character to character. So this goes coin festivals, landscape taxidermy, other instances, and I've made the order on the left match my order, but I've seen inconsistencies, and it might just be the order in which you got them. Item advancement, crafting, currency. So this is the idea, although I would like to incorporate the plus minus buttons for the tree view to make it a little bit more obvious what's going on. Like these buttons over here. And I intend to lift that wholesale from the D-Tracker plugin, because if you get it working once, why recreate the wheel? So that's the general idea, is that the wallet in TitanBar, I want it to let us track things just like as if you were able to pick something from your actual wallet. Yeah, anniversary, bad face, badges, bottle of ale, kegs of cram, all of that. And an advantage of this is that you're also able to link this into chat. So you can control right click it to link the thing just like you would expect. And it's part of why it takes so much longer to build up this window than the original one. That, and we have more than 20 things. So the idea being, hey, I want to track my gift giver brands. You would come here and then you would be able to interact with it. So that's where TitanBar is heading. That's the goal. And now that I have a way to bypass the long loading delay, then I'm less concerned that something I have done has broken TitanBar. We do have this, one second or so delay to populate this window, which I am not a fan of, 1001. But 1 second for the window, when you're ideally not doing this all the time, it could be worse. So, really? Does the original TitanBar have that typo? Okay, I feel better about that. Okay, so in chat says hi all. Hello and welcome to the hopeful slow improvement of TitanBar. Yeah, so that's the destination for this. Now, I'm a little concerned about jumping into the development aspect of this before, well, this far into today's stream and with some Dutch language homework pending. So I'm tempted to stare at the screen and mutter to myself for a few minutes, but ultimately not try to do too much more development today. If I go down that route, we'll be ending this stream in the nearer future rather than later. So now's a great time to get any last minute questions, comments, concerns that you might have into chat while I look at the screen and mutter to myself and possibly do some other things. I am curious to see what those changes were in the working directory here as an example. So I'm going to poke my nose into that. So okay, so this is a lovely fix. I don't mind it at all. I don't need it here. So I'm going to go ahead and save that off and just in a buffer somewhere so that I do not have that. What I want to do is I want to come on forward. What? Huh. Weird. What is fork doing? Now, in its defense, I have not rebooted my computer for at least a week, and it's entirely possible that something's going on that is outside of its control. But that makes me sad. Okay, so one of the things that we spent a lot of time on in this other branch is simplifying down how TitanBar works, how it refers to things. We can see it's talking about using an item ID for most currencies as a canonical way of referring to the currency, and that takes a non-trivial amount of changes. I do want to, in my probably off stream, compare what I've done, see all the changes I've done, and revisit that question of in those places where I've made a table to look up information like RGB values for controls. I made the original decision that I wanted to focus on just currency, so if it wasn't currency, I didn't do it. But that meant there's this block of code out here that has bespoke variables for each item's RGB values, and then there's the currencies, which just have a nice lookup table. And I want to revisit that question and say, does all of that effort still make sense? Or would it make more sense to go ahead and just fix it while I'm in there? Tillian says, does TitanBar load all character data at startup, and is it stored by character? So, let me go ahead and murder fork. and see if we can go ahead and apply that stash. No, it's just going to be bonkers. Okay. Well, there's two ways to do this. Okay, so we have our changes back. We're going to go ahead and unload TitanBar, load TitanBar. So Tillian says the TitanBar load all character data at startup. So in general, Tellurian, if a plugin has three main parts to its life cycle. A plugin is loading, or it is running, or it is unloading. And if you load or unload plugin data files during loading or unloading, the LOTRO client does that in real time, and those generally do not take a lot of time to do. So you say, load this plugin data file, and it says, here you go, and you get the data in it. If you say, save this file, and you can do that during loading as well. You don't have to do load during startup and save during shutdown, unload. You can load or save or load files during loading, save or load files during unloading. And when you do that, it just happens right away. But if your plugin is in the running state and you issue a file save or a file load, then the client, as part of the sandboxing of plugins, will delay completion of that save or load for 5 to 10 seconds. I forget if I calculated it to be like a specific amount of time or just a while. A lifetime when you're talking about a plugin. So, as a matter of convenience, if a plugin can load it ahead of time, it does. So I just wondered, since I did do some of those loading/saving in a plugin myself, and loading all characters got a bit lengthy when having 30 of them. Yeah, it's absolutely a thing. So a plugin author can choose to not do that. For instance, in the DTracker plugin, the DTracker will save off the information for each character on a server, and then it will allow you to look through that information in the DTracker window. But a reasonable, perhaps better way of doing it would be to say, hey, most of the time you're not using that data, so let's only load it if a user wants to go look at other characters. Or maybe there's a checkbox that says always load other character data. But if not, then you would just have a little button next to the character dropdown, or in place of the character dropdown, that that says load other character data. And you click that, and then there's just a little spinny icon or something that you would need to implement as a plugin developer. That just, maybe you pop up a message saying this will take about 10 seconds, please wait, and then all of those other files come back. So that's the trade-off. You load it all automatically at the beginning, or you have user interaction that says go ahead and load it now, and hopefully you provide them an option to pick and choose which they want to do. Because most people maybe don't care about the deeds from their other characters on that server most of the time. So choosing to make them suffer the loading of that every time is a thing. On the other hand, just loading a .plugin data file, if all you're doing is shoving it into the memory, the main cost is a bit of memory. Unless you're actively building UI elements based off it or something. And in DTracker, we don't do that. We just load it up, store it in memory, so we can easily access it. So it's not a huge performance cost, probably, unless your machine is already short of memory. Tillian says, I implemented the option load next character, load character data in background step by step. Yeah, and in that case, you probably would have seen what I saw, which was a 5 to 10 second delay before that loading finished. Ferdold says, how are you doing, Redhead? Redhead says, all good here, trying to get some good mushroom stuff. Absolutely. Ferdold says, when does the Spring Festival start? What a great question. LOTRO 2025 event calendar. So, this is over LOTRO.com. I'll put that in there. LOTRO E 2025 LOTRO event schedule. And spring. Spring is in March 13 is what it's currently scheduled at. But beware that SSG is currently coordinating the release, I guess, the opening of 4 new LOTRO worlds that are 64-bit instead of the 32-bit code that is running on the current LOTRO servers, allowing the servers to take advantage of larger memory space and do other cool things. And 2 of them are going to be hosted in Europe, and 2 of them are going to be hosted in, I think, the Las Vegas area. So for people who live in Europe, as I do, the inherent latency time connecting to a European server is just going to be less because your electrons don't have to cross the ocean to get to the server. And the release of the opening of those servers may cause some adjustments in the schedule. They haven't announced a final, this is the date these are opening, but one could imagine if they were ending up opening them up on the 12th or something, they might bump the Spring Festival over a couple of days so that people didn't have both going on in the first week. This is just my hypothesis. SSG hasn't said anything like this, but be prepared for dates in late February, early March to be flexible if SSG decides that things colliding with the opening of these servers would cause more problems than not. You says you are right on the locations. Awesome. I think the European ones are going to be somewhere in the Netherlands, which is convenient for me because that's where I live. But really, everywhere in in Europe is pretty close to the Netherlands compared to anything in the U.S. Which is why I do have a character on Mordor, but I don't think I even made one on Angmar. I don't play on Mordor very often, but if I'm going to play on one of the 2, might as well be the one that's located on my continent. Tillarian says, so my plugin loads the data for the current character immediately on startup, and the rest will be loaded partly afterwards. If I say load them automatically, I do load the character data in small chunks, which in about 15 seconds between starting the load and getting the data back. So, Tillarian, one thing that you can do as a plugin developer hijinks is it might be possible to load a different plugin and use that to load specific data, to put data into your shared apartment namespace, and then unload it. I guess you wouldn't want to unload it because, yeah, so you could load a different plugin once to put stuff into your shared apartment. I just don't know how to carry that forward to what we're looking for. And the other thing that you can do is something like mini raid, which just reload yourself. So save out the information during your unload of all the things you need to load, and then reload yourself so that you have that. So you could do that. You could trigger an unload. During the unload, save, here's where I want to pick up. When I reload, load yourself. So you'd be loading another plugin that loads you. Load yourself, sort of pick up where you left off and load the correct file, unload that other plugin. And then instead of waiting 15 seconds, your plugin would just sort of zip in and out on the screen. And if it does it really fast, it's hard to even notice it. There's some UI elements that are a little hard to deal with, like where you are in a tree view. But if you have sort of a static window, the whole thing might just sort of zip, and then it's done. So that is a way around the loading times of plugin data files during the running state of the plugin, is just unload the plugin and reload it. Telizian says, started on the Angmar server at launch. It's been a very smooth journey so far. Yeah, I like the Veil of the Nine mechanic, but my completionist character is over on Treebeard, which does not have the Veil of the Nine mechanic. And I played my completionist character, which is this one. It's Affidel. Nope, that's a goose. Whatever. I played my completionist, which is this minstrel here, more than just about any other character. Which means whenever I dip into another character, even my 150 over on Laurelin, I am missing the fact that these virtues are almost all maxed. I mean, they're all within 5 levels of full. I've been trying not to overfill them. Which means I end up tossing a lot of virtue potions at my secondary character on this server, which is nowhere near a completionist. So, yeah, this is my completionist, which is why on this character, I've done most of the quests that I can do up to level 100. So that's like 8,000 completed quests. Awesome. I switch to another character, and they don't have the reputation with this faction, and they haven't completed that quest chain, and they don't have the virtues, and they don't have the whatever. So when I do that, it's a little painful, and then trying to do that with the Veil of the Nine mechanic, and it's like, I'd kind of like to just have the Veil of the Nine with my completionist character, but that's not the way Fate has aligned things at the moment. So the landscape difficulty feature, which I absolutely adore, was premiered with the release of the Treebeard server, and might have also been available on Shadowfax, he said, forgetting his own history. Never actually played on Shadowfax, so that's part of it. But the landscape difficulty, whatever wrinkles there were worked out over on Treebeard. One of the big ones being that landscape difficulty would stay active while you were in your neighborhood, which means your training dummy at your house would kill you, quite annoyingly. And then it was brought to standard servers. So I am curious if Veil of the Nine will follow in its footsteps in any way. If they'll be like, next to the Hardened Traveler, there'll be a Weary Traveler that lets you opt into the Veil of the Nine mechanic on standard servers or something. Little Redhead confirms that it was available. Landscape difficulty was also available on Shadowfax. Thank you. I assumed so. The servers came out at the same time, but awesome. So, I guess it wouldn't surprise me if a year or two from now Veil of the Nine was available on all servers in the same way that landscape difficulty is, but maybe opt-in, or maybe like the landscape difficulty deeds where your character has to opt in from the beginning of its life. Maybe there's a special introduction for the Veil of the Nine opting in characters. I don't know. I could see multiple ways of doing that if that's even their intent. Then again, they might consider it like the tournament server Bombadil, where they just say, no, it's on these servers and never again. Who knows what goes on in their heads. So, yeah, Tellurian. So, I enjoy thinking around some of these problems, like how do you load a file in the middle of running? And if your plugin unloads and loads really fast, you can fake it. But if your plugin doesn't load up really fast, or if for whatever reason you just don't want to do that kind of thing, totally understand. But I feel like if a plugin's just sort of presenting one character's file at a time, hitting the next button and having the window just go flip flip, and then it's just there, but you didn't have to load it all at start. That's interesting to me. I feel like, let me go ahead and add in, wrong program. Let me go ahead and add in deed tracker using the LOTRO Plugin Compendium. Coming on in here, deed tracker. Add that. Awesome. So, a deed tracker takes a moment to load. So, let's go ahead and unload plugins so that I can pretend like I have multiple characters. So, Documents, Lord of the Rings Online, plugin data, and this is going to be server-wide, deed tracker. And we're going to go ahead and just add a couple more characters. Affidel 1, Affidel 2, and we also need to add it to this array as well. So, 2, 3, Affidel 1, Affidel 2. Great. So when we load deed tracker, we can see the list here. And the list of names we can get from this file, which is very small. It doesn't have all the details. And it's actually the files with the cleared data also start very small. They can get large as your character completes a bunch of stuff. And in fact, let's take a look at that. If we come into plugins, Cube plugins, dtracker, and we're just going to go ahead and import this progress from LOTRO Companion. So this is Treebeard Affodil import, great. And then we'll go ahead and import all of that data. So this is 1,800 completed deeds. Awesome, done. So when I unload that and we come in here, we can see now this file, instead of being super small, is in a different directory. Affodil's, yeah, it's 150 kilobytes now. And it does not take that long to load. We can still see, in fact, turn on verbose logging. I wonder if I have that shipped. Yeah, so it takes less than a second to load, but that's more than it used to take, I think. Let's take a look at that. Dot back. So, yeah, it's like 0.1 seconds different. Maybe 0.15 seconds different. Let's be generous. But yeah, pulling in that file and converting it into a memory format, it's not the worst thing in the world. Doing it with 50 characters, yeah, that's seems like a big memory waste is the big part of that. So we're going to go ahead and replace that with these two. And then load this. Okay, we're up to 0.9 seconds. So if you can imagine if you added 1/10 of a second per character, by the time you get up to 30 characters, you're adding 3 seconds, but also potentially a lot of memory usage per character. Nardo says, does it convert one item at a time or store all lines, then output? Narnar, I'm not entirely sure what your question is asking. Can you phrase it differently? Narnar says, I recently optimized some Python. Not sure it's applicable here yet. Yeah. I'm curious where you're going with that. I'm going to look at Tellurian's comment. Tellurian says, my plugin tries to keep track of titles, quests, and deeds, which is quite obsolete due to LOTRO Companion. And the important data is the current characters. Seeing other characters is nice to have, but not necessarily most of the time. Yeah, where I was going with that, Tellurian, was that if I had this drop down here, and whenever I changed it, we went ahead and told the game, unload this plugin, and we wrote out to a file during unload, we actually want to be looking at Affodil 1. Then, during loading, I don't care about that one. During loading, we always load this file, and then we only load the data file for Affodil 1. We don't load any of the other ones. So we act as if we're just switching over to that view. And then we switch back to Affodil. Now, tricky part is you would have to go ahead and write out any information that applies for Affodil, any unchanged information here. But then you click that, and you just do a quick little unload load. But if your plugin takes more than a 1/10 of a second to load, that might be disconcerting to click it, disappear, and come back. So, anyway, just a thought. Narno says, the problem was every item I was processing and outputting to the screen, I got huge gains by having all the processing done and stored in the code and then output at the end. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think your experience with LOTRO plugins will kind of vary. For instance, if you send a bunch of lines to the standard chat channel, if you send 100 lines of text to it, there's an overhead, it feels like, to each thing that you send to the standard chat. Whereas if you sent that same stuff as a single message to standard chat, you might blow past whatever limit there is for messages sent there. But a single long message would probably take less time than 100 short messages. So it kind of depends on what you're doing. If you're adding stuff to a user interface, like you're building it up, it's conceivable there could be some benefits to doing it while it's all hidden and then show it versus showing it. Certainly, the controls might do a little less, like, oh, what's going on? I'm visible. I need to reconfigure myself. But that's the kind of thing where I think you'd want to definitely be testing to get some metrics to say how much time does it take, even if it's really simple ones, like the metric we're having for when we load TitanBar. Oh, it took 0.13 seconds to load. Just something basic, and be wearing the trap of calling get game time 2 times in the same execution unit, where you're going to get that same response, and it's going to look like it took 0 time. So you got to be a little careful about some timing things with LOTRO plugins. So I guess the question is, it's entirely possible that there are performance benefits to be gained by being careful about doing a bunch of things serially versus trying to do them all in a clump. But I'm not sure. Outside of the standard chat channel, which definitely will slow things down if you try to output 100 things to it. I'm not sure I can think of any specific examples, but it's an interesting question, and let me know if your mind goes other places with that. That being said, I think I have muttered at the screen enough. All right. I need to find the imagery for Destiny. Yeah. Nana says, gotcha. During load, is it reading every currency? Does it have to do any processing or formatting for the display? Yeah, for TitanBar, and this is a thing that is noticeable in the redo that I'm working on, the redo of that window. Work. Let's come on over to the wallet window, tree view, and then load it in. Nope, that's the D tracker. I should probably get rid of that. So TitanBar is reasonably good about putting things into distinct buckets. Controls are kind of responsible for their own thing. So when I open this currency window, there's like a 1 second delay because it does kind of go through and say, hey, what do you have in your wallet? Let's build up a user interface that is meant to replicate that. And let's make it searchable. So if you search for token, you want to see the same results in both. And in this sense, there's definitely something going on where the logic of this is taking a while. And I suspect it's just the building of the user interface with however many things there are here. I'm not sure if there's an easy way to count how many distinct things you have in your wallet, but at a glance, I'd say like 200. So I don't know if it's the building up 200 of these, if it's the finding each one of those in a wallet, if there's a hidden n squared, n cubed algorithm in there somewhere. TitanBar has definitely done that, where it says, anniversary tokens. I'll just search all the things in your wallet until I find something called anniversary token. Cool. Okay, bad fish. I'll search all the things in your wallet until I find something called bad fish. There's definitely code that looks like that. Whether it saves things off or not, I can't remember. And you can definitely find places. Narno says, and this TitanBar wallet is live, yes? No, unfortunately, I haven't hooked up the ways to add the thing to the bar. That's sort of where I left it off at the end of last year, and that's why I wanted to get back in. What we did at the beginning of this stream was the enabling fast loading and unloading, well, fast loading specifically of TitanBar for development purposes. Which, as you notice, if I load TitanBar 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1000 go. This is like a 5.5 second delay due to the first GetAttributes call lagging the game out until it completes. And for development, that just feels like too long. I'm already halfway to looking at my email or something. So it's the near future for TitanBar in the sense of like 2025, not 2026. But I don't have a planned release date yet for that. But it's a goal to get that, because I, like so many other people, want to track things in my TitanBar wallet that have not been added to TitanBar. And maybe TitanBar would never add it. Maybe the other people don't want to track marigolds, and I do. Jan says, I used TitanBar 13 years ago, using it today as well. Absolutely. And there have been numerous contributors over the years, so I will just be the latest in a line of contributors if I ever actually successfully push something out. Okay. Well, I appreciate everyone's questions and comments in chat. I think we're going to keep working on TitanBar, so I'll be back next Tuesday. I don't think I'm going anywhere for a little while. I'll be back next Tuesday, and we will be continuing work on TitanBar. Nem in chat says, would you say LOTRO in 2025 is more of a Goose-style game? No, I would say I am more of a Goose-style person. This is just one of the cosmetic pets. I suppose we could bring out a little Moomak in, well, not so little, Hobbit-sized Moomak instead. Feels appropriate since we're over here in Dol Amroth, although they never got this far west. Narnar says, I love the bar too. If you mean TitanBar, yeah. Dem says, I'm really liking the goose representation here. Me too. I like the goose, and I figure geese are interesting to look at, and Dol Amroth is beyond. You says, be safe, the both of you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm going to go, I don't know, get some dinner, work on some Dutch language homework, do something. Let's see. Was that everything? I think it was. Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone in chat, for all of your thoughts. And that is everything we're going to cover today. Thank you so much for joining me on this exploration of LOTRO plugins. I do hope to see you again next week. And until then, keep plugging along. All right, bye-bye now.